little brick. And behind the brick, there were these two little bowls of water and food. And the whole thing was tucked right up against the tree. And it was just and it would look at me, but it wouldn't move. But when it flew away, the leaves all came up, and then I saw the leaves coming down. From this high canopy, and the light was slanting in. And the sky was going. And all around it's very active, and the guys on the roller skates and bicycles, and then around the fountain, they were playing this TV game where they had these guys, and they were saying, well, who gets to have the date with this guy? And they had these three guys, everyone sitting around, big crowd here. One of the, I don't know if birds are very much, maybe a sparrow, just one of these little guys, and a leaf came up and it blew against him, and the bird kind of went like that, because the leaf was as big as the bird was. He was sort of in the deep leaves, and these leaves all came down. And the squirrel that was completely, the ground was that way. And the top of the tree up there was like that. And his eyes were wide focused because he had to be able to see when some other squirrel was coming around the trunk, and then he'd just disappear, and then you'd see them go spiraling up or down. Earlier in the year, I had seen some bees, so I went to see if I could find them, and they're not there, but they're in this little hole in this little brick building. It's just a little, like a little tool shed, and they as I remembered them, they were flying out of this little hole, and then some would land and go in, and another would go in, and then another one would fly out. They're hard to follow because they're small, but the chess guys were there. Oh, yesterday. There was a big game going on. This was very electric. Everybody was watching this one game. There were many games going on. There were I don't know, 10 games, the card games too, and everyone was crowded around this one table, and the moves. They've got these pots. Pop and move, and you punch and you move, and you punch and you move, and then these guys are all sitting around the plate either side of the players. They're sitting around and everybody's like built up around it and watching, and I had to see the board, and so I had to climb up, and it's like this amphitheater, and you're looking down, and you're used to chess being sort of a very measured. Leo won, and say, "Hey Leo, you got a minute?" And Leo would say, "No!" Hitting those buttons, and then suddenly they go together in the pieces. The squirrels work the ground with their hands. They kind of pat it, and then they work it. They push down on it. Stand up and then go down. And then they go up the trunk, and then they follow the line of the branch. And the dogs come to the dog run, and they kind of smile, and they kind of move their ears a little bit. and their owners are calling them constantly. And they're at this cocktail party, and they run around and they sniff each other's asses. And I mean, you take that for granted, but it really was so ritualized and civilized, because the owners were sort of standing together and, talking about this and that, and the dogs were kind of standing near the owner, but going off a little bit, and then going down under the bench and having to be called back and brought back, but basically they were sort of, and two dogs came sort of running over to this one, and they sort of tumbled around. So this one just sort of put a paw on the back of that one, just for a moment. Just sort of, it was like to sort of get things in hand a little bit. Just getting a little out of hand. And then there's one place with a lot of leaves piled up, and a lot of pigeons, and these little birds, and some medium birds, and the squirrels, and they all mix in together, and the leaves were, so it was very three-dimensional. Like, that's where that leaf came up against that little bird. garden. Looks so different. Once it's all dug up and covered with hay for the winter. It's like one thing. It's like just one plain place. Strawberries. They try to grow in the pasture of this. From the woods. This is great to have business in the woods. Business in the woods. The geese. At first it sounds like dogs barking across the valley. And the bee sort of shakes and then it goes out of shape and shakes, and then this guy decides to go over there, and this one wants to be there. And you can see the sun on the field down the valley. The clouds. The light. Clouds. And then the sun comes to where you are. You can see it coming. You can see it coming, and then in the sun. And it's dark down the valley. And that part of the mountain is lit up. I didn't offer the mushrooms to anyone because I couldn't be 100% sure. But I keyed them out. And I took spore prints. So beautiful. White spores on black paper. Oh, very like maybe a sand dollar. White, the ones are shaped, they're narrow and they widen a tiny bit and they narrow. And then right next to them, maybe there's one that starts a little lower and it widens out and narrows it. So there's this white. So they're good. And they grow along the grass.